felt a ghostly presence nearby, or even heard whispers from a realm no one else could sense? Were they gifted, cursed, or simply awake? Why do some people see beyond the veil while others live their entire lives unaware of the hidden dimensions around them? This is not just a matter of superstition or sensitivity. It's a mystery as old as humanity, itself tied to ancient teachings about the soul, the energy body, and the power of perception. And behind it lies a forgotten truth. The world of spirit is not out there. It is all around us. The difference lies in how we perceive. Some are born seeing children who describe glowing beings, shadowy visitors, or otherworldly guides before language even forms. Others awaken after trauma, meditation, near-death experiences, or deep spiritual work. And many never glimpse this realm at all, not because it isn't real, but because their inner sight remains closed. In this video, we'll explore why this happens, what makes the third eye open for some, while others remain blind to the spirit world. Is it genetics, soul contracts, training, trauma, or something even deeper like vibrational frequency and karmic memory? We'll journey through ancient traditions that spoke openly of spirit vision, from the mystics of India to the prophets of the desert, from seers of tribal lineages to modern-day intuitives. We'll uncover the subtle anatomy that makes perception possible, and what must align for that sacred gate the third eye to truly open. By the end, you may not just understand why some people see spirits. You may begin to sense that ability stirring within yourself. Because the truth is, it's not a question of whether spirits are real. It's a question of whether we're ready to see. Throughout human history, the ability to perceive spirits beings from beyond the physical world was not dismissed. It was respected, even feared, but rarely denied. In every ancient culture, from the shamanic tribes of the Amazon to the mystics of Egypt, there were those who walked between worlds, the seers, the oracles, the mediums, the prophets. They were not anomalies, they were initiates. In ancient India, the rishis sages and visionaries spoke of the siddhis, supernatural abilities that could be awakened through intense spiritual practice. One of these was divya drishtith, divine sight. This was not metaphor. It was the literal ability to see into other planes of existence. These planes, described in the Upanishads and Vedas, were populated by subtle beings, not bound by form, visible only to those whose inner vision was clear. In Tibetan Buddhism, advanced monks speak of the Bardoth intermediate realm between death and rebirth. Experienced meditators train their minds to remain conscious in this realm and communicate with spirits, not through superstition, but through disciplined inner technology. To see a spirit, in this view, is to momentarily align with a subtler frequency of existence. The mystics of Egypt, particularly those initiated into the mystery schools of Thoth and Isis, taught that perception was layered. The Ka, vital body, and Ba, spirit soul, coexisted alongside the physical, and those with awakened senses could perceive them. The Eye of Horus was not merely a symbol, it was a map of the pineal gland, the so-called seat of the soul, which was believed to be the physical counterpart of the third eye. In Christian mysticism, saints and prophets had visions of angels, demons, and departed souls. The early Desert Fathers retreated into isolation not to escape the world, but to pierce the veil. Their silence and fasting were tools to thin the boundary between the seen and the unseen. The visionary experiences of Hildegard von Bingen and St. John of the Cross were not hallucinations, they were respected as divine visitations, born of inner purification. Among indigenous traditions, the role of the shaman is rooted in this very question: who can see beyond? The shaman enters altered states via drumming, plant medicine, fasting to journey into spirit realms, communicate with ancestors, and retrieve lost fragments of the soul. In many tribes, this gift is hereditary, but it also emerges after illness, trauma, or lightning-like spiritual initiations. Even in Hermetic and Kabbalistic teachings, spirit communication is tied to the structure of the soul. The Ruach, spirit, Neshama, higher soul, and Chaya, divine life force, were layered aspects of consciousness. Perceiving spirits wasn't considered rare, it was the result of aligning the inner architecture with divine order. Across these traditions, we find a shared thread. The world of spirits is real but veiled. The veil is not in the world. It is in us. Whether through ritual, trauma, bloodline, or practice, that veil can thin. When it does, perception expands and what was once called invisible becomes visible. What was once feared becomes familiar. The mystical becomes natural. In the next section, we'll dive into the core explanation. What opens the third eye in some and not in others? What factors, energetic, spiritual, emotional, must align for spirit sight to awaken? To understand why some people see spirits while others don't, we must first understand this. Perception is layered. We are not limited to 5 senses, we are equipped with an entire spectrum of awareness, but most of it lies dormant. The difference between a seer and someone blind to the unseen isn't ability, it's activation. At the center of this mystery is the third eye, known in ancient teachings as the Ajna chakra, or the command center of the subtle body. Physically, it corresponds with the pineal gland, a tiny pinecone-shaped structure located deep within the brain. Mystics across cultures regarded this gland as a kind of spiritual antenna capable of receiving impressions from realms beyond the physical. So why do some have this center active and others not? 1. Frequency and subtle perception. The spirit world exists on a different vibrational frequency than the dense material realm. It's like a radio station. If your receiver isn't tuned to the right frequency, you won't pick up the signal. People who see spirits often vibrate at a slightly different rate, sometimes naturally, sometimes through training, trauma, or intense spiritual work. Certain individuals are born with a thinner veil. Children, for example, often report seeing spirits because their energy systems are still uncluttered by societal conditioning, mental filters, and emotional trauma. As they age, the veil often thickens unless the environment supports continued sensitivity. 2. Emotional and energetic openness. Spiritual perception is not just about the third eye, it's also about the heart. Seeing spirits is not purely visual, it's felt, sensed, received. Empaths and highly sensitive people often perceive spirits not as images, but as energetic impressions, sudden chills, heaviness in the air, shifts in temperature or mood. If the emotional body is open and attuned, spirit communication can occur more easily. This is why traumas, strange as it may seem, can sometimes open the gates. Intense emotional events fracture the ego's control mechanisms, creating temporary breaches in the usual filters. In this rawness, perception widens. Many people report their first spirit encounter after loss, illness, or near-death experiences. 3. Ancestral and karmic blueprint. In some cases, the ability to see spirits is part of the soul's blueprint, a skill carried over from past lives or inherited through bloodlines. In shamanic traditions, the gift of sight is often passed down, not biologically, but energetically. If your ancestors were seers, healers, or mediums, that vibrational signature may live in your field, waiting to be reawakened. Karmically, some souls incarnate with the mission to serve as bridges between worlds. These are the mediums, psychics, and mystics, who come in already attuned, often struggling with their gift until it is consciously understood and integrated. 4. Belief and expectation. Perhaps the most overlooked factor is belief itself. The mind filters out what it deems impossible. If you believe spirits are fantasy, your perception system will close the gate. But if you create even a sliver of openness, curiosity, wonder, humility, the subconscious begins to relax its grip. You may not see spirits right away, but you'll begin to feel subtle presences. And from there, the sight can unfold. Spirit perception is like any sense, it sharpens with use. Those who see frequently are often those who pay attention, who listen, who engage in practices that keep their energy clear and receptive. In the next section, we'll go deeper into the spiritual mechanics behind spirit sight, how the third eye becomes blocked, how fear affects perception, and what role spiritual initiation plays in unlocking this forgotten sense. Fear closes the third eye. It creates contraction in the nervous system and tension in the subtle body. And when the third eye is contracted tight with skepticism, trauma, or unresolved emotion, its ability to receive impressions from the unseen is diminished. Not destroyed, but numbed. Think of a mirror fogged by breath. The glass is still there. The reflection is still there, but clarity has been obscured. This is why children, who are naturally open and unafraid, often see spirits with ease. But as society tells them these things are imaginary, or as fear creeps in, their channels begin to shut down. The mirror fogs. The connection is not lost, but it retreats into the background, like a radio station no longer tuned. Let's explore a few more key reasons why the ability to see spirits varies from person to person. Energetic congestion and lifestyle toxins. The third eye. Physically, the pineal gland can become calcified or blocked through poor diet, exposure to fluoride, overstimulation, and stress. Energetically, cluttered environments, heavy emotional states, or chaotic thought patterns all contribute to a kind of static in the field. It's like trying to hear a whisper in a thunderstorm. Those who live in silence, practice inner stillness, and maintain energetic hygiene are more likely to hear the whisper of spirit, because spirit is not lauded, waits for you to become quiet enough to receive. 2. The law of readiness. Not all who are capable of seeing spirits are meant to see them right away. In many esoteric traditions, it's taught that perception unfolds in stages of readiness. If the mind is not yet grounded, seeing spirits may cause fear, ego inflation, or psychological imbalance. So the veil stays closed, not as punishment, but as protection. This is echoed in initiatory systems where students were not given access to deeper teachings or powers until they had undergone inner purification. The spiritual world does not deny access, it waits for resonance. 3. Interference from cultural and religious conditioning. In some cases, the ability to see spirits is suppressed not by the individual, but by the collective field they live in. If someone is raised in a rigid worldview where spirits are considered demonic, insane, or evil, their subconscious may actively block perception to avoid internal conflict or social rejection. Conversely, those raised in cultures where spirit communication is honored tend to retain and refine their abilities naturally because their minds have been taught to accept what the heart already knows. 4. Spiritual initiation and crisis. There are moments in life that act as spiritual detonators, initiations, often disguised as breakdowns. During these times, the ego dissolves, the filters thin, and suddenly, the unseen becomes seen. For some, this happens during meditation, vision quests, or plant medicine journeys. For others, it arrives after loss, childbirth, or personal crisis. These thresholds open doors, and if the soul is ready, spirit sight may awaken suddenly and dramatically. But here's what most don't realize. Seeing spirits is not the goal. It is a byproduct of spiritual alignment. When your frequency matches that of the subtle realms, perception naturally expands. You begin to sense not just spirits, but the interconnectedness of all things. And those who see, when truly grounded, don't chase the phenomenon. They serve it. They listen. They become bridges between worlds, not for entertainment, but for healing, remembrance, and truth. In the next section, we'll explore how you can awaken or refine this perception within yourself. What practices open the third eye? How can you create a life that naturally invites spirit contact not through force, but through resonance? Whether you've always sensed something just beyond the veiler, you're newly curious about unlocking your inner sight, the ability to perceive spirits is not reserved for the chosen few. It is a natural ability, waiting to be remembered. And the way forward is not about forcing a vision, it's about cultivating the conditions that allow it to arise. Here are 7 foundational practices to awaken or deepen your spirit perception. 1. Create inner stillness. Spirits rarely arrive with fanfare. They speak through silence, through subtlety. Begin by dedicating time daily, 5 to 20 minutes to complete stillness. Sit in the dark or low light. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply and gently. Let the outer world fade. Let the inner world emerge. This space becomes the sacred temple where perception sharpens. 2. Decalcify and activate the third eye. Support your physical and energetic third eye with intention. Reduce or eliminate fluoride and processed foods. Incorporate herbs like blue lotus, mugwort, or gotu kola. Consult a practitioner if needed. Use essential oils like sandalwood or frankincense on the brow chakra. Spend time in complete darkness 7-20 minutes a day can reawaken subtle sight. And if you feel called, chant the seed sound, Om, focusing on vibration at the brow point. Sound clears what thought cannot. 3. Keep a spirit sighting journal often. Spirit communication begins as subtle impressions, dreams, flickers, sensations. Keep a small notebook near your bed or meditation space. Record anything unusual, sudden chills, flashes of light, synchronicities, or inner voices. Over time, you'll begin to notice patterns. And patterns are the beginning of perception. 4. Work with protective and clarifying energies. It's vital to stay grounded. Open perception without protection can invite confusion or interference. Before any spiritual work, invoke your own sacred shield. Only energies of truth, light, and love may enter this space. Visualize a golden or violet sphere around your body. If working with guides, ask for the presence of ancestors, angelic forces, or ascended beings you trust. 5. Visit liminal spaces. Spirit activity is often heightened in liminal zone-s twilight hours. Natural thresholds like rivers and forests, or sacred sites such as old temples, graveyards, or places of prayer. Visit these spaces with reverence. Do not demand contact, simply sit, listen, and observe. Spirits come to those who approach with humility, not hunger. 6. Use dream work as a gateway. The dream world is a natural portal to the spirit world. Set the intention before sleep. I am open to meeting a guide or message from the unseen in a way that is gentle and clear. Place a clear quartz or amethyst crystal beneath your pillow. Upon waking, record your Dream 7 fragments. Over time, your subconscious will begin to deliver deeper messages. 7. Release fear and control. Many block their perception not through ignorance but fear. Afraid of what they'll see, afraid of being judged, afraid of losing control. But spirit perception is not chaos, it is connection. Practice letting go of the need to interpret everything. Trust what you feel, trust your body, trust that your higher self will only show you what you're ready to hold. A final reminder, you don't need to see spirits with your eyes to be a bridge between worlds. Sensing, knowing, feeling these are equally sacred. True spiritual vision is less about supernatural spectacle and more about alignment with truth. The more you purify your intent, the more perception unfolds naturally, effortlessly, in perfect time. In the conclusion, we'll reflect on everything we've explored and leave you with one powerful invitation that may forever shift how you walk between the seen and the unseen. So why do some people see spirits and others don't? It's not simply a gift bestowed at birth. It's not a curse, nor is it a trick of imagination. It is a capacity of the soul alone that awakens under certain conditions. And those conditions are not random, they are sacred. They arise when the body is calm, the heart is open, the mind is quiet, and the spirit is aligned. We've explored how ancient traditions revered this ability not as a spectacle, but as a responsibility. We've seen that spirit sight is not limited to the eyes, but to awareness itself, that it opens through trauma, through devotion, through surrender, and sometimes, when least expected, through grace. The unseen world is not reserved for a select few. It is all around us right now. The question is not whether you're capable of seeing it. The question is, are you listening? Are you ready? To see is not to conquer the veil. It is to dissolve the veil within. So if something stirs in you, some echo of memory, some feeling of déjà vu, some knowing you can't quite explain, follow it. Tend to it. That's your signal. That's your invitation. Begin the practices. Keep the journal. Sit in the silence. Walk the liminal. Let go of force. Trust the unfolding. Because the spirits do not shout. They whisper, and only the still can hear. If this message resonated with you, I invite you to subscribe, explore the other mysteries we uncover here, and share this video with someone who's felt the invisible tug of the other world. You are not crazy. You are not broken. You are remembering. And that is where the real vision begins.